Thank you very much to Samarito for rejoining as a member of the Kinetic Rugby League channel, and thank you very much to Brian Fisher for becoming a new member of the channel as well. If you'd like to support the work that I do, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. Let's get on with the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kinetic Rugby League channel. Now I've left a recap of last round's predictions up on the screen for you guys to check out. Unfortunately, 0-4 for the first half of the week, and then 4 out of 4 for the second half of the week, so much improved. I guess that kind of saved me because I do not like going less than 50% on the week. Only 1 out of 8 on the margin, so a massive drop off overall from last round, unfortunately. And the Broncos, oh my god, the Brisbane Broncos. You just can't write it, can you? You just can't. Anyway, as always, if you guys have your own predictions, let me know in the comment section down below. But let's get on with the first game of this week. Kicking things off this week, we have the Eels taking on the Storm. Starting with form, the Eels have won 2 in their last 5, the Storm have won 4 in their last 5. Now the Eels picked up a very unexpected win over the Broncos last round, at least it was unexpected to me, and they do have a few key players now available for this round, which include Simonson, Brown and Tuolangi. All 3 are in the reserves right now, but they are at least available. Now the Storm will be without Liero at 13 and Hughes at 7 for a while, but fortunately for the Storm, this week they'll have Munster and Pappenhausen back in the side, and basically for the foreseeable future until possibly the preliminary finals, Wishart will be at number 7 for the Storm. Now these sides played all the way back in round 1 when the Eels were an extremely poor side, losing 56-18. The Storm are still roughly as strong as they were then, just dealing with a lot of changes. The Eels though are a much improved side on both sides of the ball compared to what they were all the way back in round 1. Now as much as the Eels did a great job in getting that win versus the Broncos last round, the strength of the Storm they have this week on paper and with what they've shown in attack and defence, it just might be a tall task for the Eels to kind of replicate that again this week. Now the Eels have lost all 5 games against top 4 opposition this season, and the Storm have won their last 5 games against the Eels. I think the Eels can find another level to make this game close, especially with the kicking game and energy that Mitchell Moses brings to this side, but I think the Storm have enough firepower to put solid points past the Eels, and past the Eels side that just needs a lot of work in defence still at the moment, and the Storm defence is already tough enough to break open. So for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Storm to win 13+, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Coates. Next up, we have the Warriors taking on the Dolphins. Starting with form, the Warriors have won 2 in their last 5, while the Dolphins have won 3 in their last 5. The Dolphins' form at the moment is win-loss, win-loss, win over the past 5 weeks, so they'll need to start finding some consistency again soon. The Warriors haven't looked too convincing over the past few weeks, although they've been dealing with some major injuries and squad changes recently. This week, they'll be without Harris DeVita, Fisher Harris and Wade Egan. All 3 are major misses for the Warriors. They do have players like Afoa, Kossi, Lussick and Taupiki back in this week, so the backline looks fine, but the halves are Martin and Boyd, so even though they're both reliable, the combinations and chemistry may need time. The Dolphins don't have any major misses themselves from last week, but they can bring in Nichols, Kafusi and Nikarima back into the side. So their backs are almost back to normal, and their forwards look a lot stronger as well this week. Now with the Warriors forwards being slightly weaker than they could have been, this makes the battle a little bit closer up front. I originally would have given the advantage to the Warriors, and I still might with the size that they've got, but it's now closer than it could have been. Now the last time they played, the Warriors won 16-12 back in round 11. The Warriors have won both matches against the Dolphins at Go Media Stadium, but the Warriors have lost 3 of their last 4 games at home. What I can't look past is how close some of the Warriors games have been recently. They could easily have 1 win in their last 5, while the Dolphins will have a more regular side back this week, and they have more potential to really pile on the points. But I do think the Warriors can keep this one competitive as long as they can complete their sets, since they'll likely revert to a more basic style this week with a more makeshift halves partnership. So for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Dolphins to win 1-12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Jake Cavarillo. Next up, we have the Broncos taking on the Rabbitohs. Start with form, the Broncos have won 4 in their last 5, with the Rabbitohs winning 0 in their last 5, and their loss streak extends beyond recent games. Once again, based on at least form, the Broncos go into this as major favourites, so what a great opportunity this is, once again, for the Broncos to mess up my predictions. I cannot wait. But the Rabbitohs actually beat the Broncos 22-14 back in round 10. I do think the Broncos are a different side to what they were way back in round 10. Now, the Broncos do have Cobo and Mariner in the side this week. The Rabbitohs are missing Tavita Totola, but they have Humphreys and Mamazelis in the side to bolster the quality in the forwards and the backs. Now, the Bunnies put in a great shift against a Sharks side that's been looking pretty good recently, but I do expect a bounce back from the Broncos this week, and we'll see whether the Rabbitohs can kind of put in that defensive shift that they put in last time out again this week. Now, the Rabbitohs have conceded 136 points in 4 consecutive losses at Suncorp Stadium, but Wayne Bennett has won 11 of his last 12 games against Michael Maguire coached teams. I do think the Broncos pack should be fine up front. I think they could dominate this week. Then the backs actually match up really nicely with Staggs and Shibasaki going against Tass and Duncan. So I think in a few 1v1 situations, the Broncos can find quite a lot of success inside the midfield or even their own half when trying to shift the ball out wide. Now, I will assume that the game last week for Brisbane was just a blip, considering they've been great for a while now, and the Rabbitohs are still a poor side. But for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Broncos to win 13+. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Selwyn Cobbo. Next up, we have the Titans taking on the Panthers. Starting with form, the Titans have only won 1 in their last 5, but the Panthers have won 5 in their last 5, and the win streak continues beyond the last 5 games as well. They've also won their last 3 games by 13+. The Titans are missing Randall from last week, but they have Khan Pereira, Verrills and Weaver all available for the squad. The Panthers do have Gaia, Eisenhuth, Somerton and Laurie that are all available for them, but they also have no major losses from the last round as well. If you look at the last few results for the Titans, they've been close to winning a couple of them. They lost by 6 to the Eels, then the Cowboys by 6 as well, 12 to the Broncos, 1 to the Tigers, and then finally picked up a win over the Warriors last round. The Panthers have been dealing with a few changes to their squad ever since pretty much State of Origin Game 1, but they've kept that form going and don't really look like slowing down. The Titans are still missing a few key players, while the Panthers are basically at full strength, at least in the backs anyway, so I'm expecting big points again for Penrith, given that the Titans are such a poor defensive side as well, and I do need to see more evidence than just last week that they have changed their ways in defence. Now, the Panthers have won 10 of their last 11 games against the Titans, and the Panthers have only conceded 70 points in their last 7 games. So for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Panthers to win 13+, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Brian Toto. Next up, we have the Dragons taking on the Raiders. Now, the Dragons have won 1 in their last 5, the Raiders have won 5 in their last 5, and also their win streak continues beyond that as well. The Dragons are without Sewer, but they'll have Ilias, Sele, Murdoch Masila, and Pasifiki Tonga all available, so they do have options in their pack if they want to swap things around before kickoff. The Raiders have no major losses this week, but they do have Levi and Chris both available. Chris will start in the centres this week. For this game, I do feel like the Dragons' best chance will come from individuals that can make plays, such as Gutherson, Sloan, Sully and Cook, whereas the Raiders, they have their strongest side available, minus maybe 2. So as a unit, they already look so much stronger on paper, and they don't have to worry about major disruptions to their side this week. Now, the Dragons have only won 1 of 5 games against top 4 opposition this season. The Raiders have also won their last 5 games against the Dragons, and the Raiders are pushing for 8 wins in a row. Given that the Raiders have won most of their recent games by 1-12, and the Dragons have lost by 1-12 in their last 4 games, which are all losses by the way, I will assume the Dragons can keep this one close, although I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Raiders get a third 13+ win in a row. So for prediction, I'm going to go with the Raiders to win 1-12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Savage. Next up, we have the Seagulls taking on the Roosters. Starting with form, the Seagulls have won 3 in their last 5, the Roosters have won 2 in their last 5. Now, the Seagulls do have better defence this season, but the Roosters have the better attack. The Seagulls did just let in 42 points, and yes, the Roosters have been conceding a lot recently, but they're still finding a lot more points as well for themselves. Hamal Olakawatu will be a major loss for Manly, and Corey Waddell will take his place in the back row. But the entire forward pack for Manly is still pretty big anyway. The Roosters are without Sandon Smith, so Hugo Savala will pair with Sam Walker in the halves this week. Billy Smith and Victor Radley are both also available. This is a great battle all over, by the way. I love how both these teams are built. Plenty of size and power in the forwards, with quality and pacey plays in the backs that can create moments from nothing. Now, I did say last week that if the Roosters lost, I might have to stop backing them, depending on how the game went. Considering it was a close one, and the Seagulls just got battered 42-2, even though their first half was very strong, that kind of evens things out for me. So finally, Manly have won 6 of their last 9 games at 4 Pines Park this season. The Roosters have won 5 of their last 7 games against the Seagulls. These sides are very difficult to separate right now, but there is a side I think just has a little bit more power up front and has more consistency in their backs and spine to be able to execute the combinations more effectively over the course of the game. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Seagulls to win 1-12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Jason Saab. Next up, we have the Tigers taking on the Bulldogs. Starting with form, the Tigers have won 2 in their last 5, the Bulldogs have won 3 in their last 5. Now, the Bulldogs have also won those 3 games in a row. West Tigers will be missing Bird and Tuatupo from last week's squad, but they'll have a bunch of players coming back in which include Naden, Mason, Bula and Hunt. The Bulldogs will be missing their reliable fullback Connor Tracy, so Jacob Kiraz will move to fullback and Jethro Rinakama will take his spot on the wing. Galvin and Burton will continue to play in the halves together, and they're gradually building that partnership, and Galvin is looking more and more comfortable each and every week that he plays. And this feels like a matchup that could be full of energy, especially when you've got Luai and Crichton on either side. They'll want to get one over on the other just because of what their relationship's like and what they're like as people. And if Crichton's up against Taylor and May, which I believe he will be, that's going to be a very fun battle to watch. And also keep in mind, this is the first time that Galvin will be playing against the Tigers since he left, which wasn't that long ago, first of all, and it didn't end on the best of terms, as some of you may remember. Now, in terms of point stats this season, the Bulldogs are better offensively and significantly better in defence as well. Even over the past 5 weeks, the Tigers have conceded 36, 20, 34, 28 and 28 again, while the Bulldogs have only conceded 4, 18, 8, 22 and 8 again, which is nearly 2.5 times less. Now, the Bulldogs' attack was lacking for a few weeks until last round when they put up 42 points against the Manly Seagulls. Given the defensive issues with the Tigers, the Bulldogs might be able to find more success again this week with the ball in hand. Now, West Tigers have conceded 92 points in their last 3 games at CommBank Stadium. They've lost all 4 games against top 4 opposition this year as well, and the Bulldogs have won 4 of their last 5 games against the Tigers. I can see the Bulldogs potentially dominating in this one, but because of the players involved in this game and the energy that could come with this matchup, as I mentioned, we could see the Tigers raise their efforts across the board and make it a much more interesting game. Given the Bulldogs have had some close calls recently as well, and given they are the better team, I think they can get the win, but the game might be a close one. So for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs to win, 1 to 12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Bronson Cherry. Finally for this round, we have the Sharks taking on the Cowboys. Starting with form, the Sharks have won 3 in their last 5, winning 3 in a row, and the Cowboys have won 2 in their last 5, finally getting a win after being on a 3-game losing streak. Both played each other back in round 2, and the Sharks took the win 36-12 in Townsville. Now, the Sharks won't have Toby Rudolph for this week, but they'll have players like Nikora, Hiroti, Stone Street and Talakai, and Hazelton all available this week as well. The Cowboys are without Lawton and Duffy, but Jake Clifford will rejoin Dearden in the halves, which I think is their best partnership at 6 and 7. Both sides are about as strong as you'd hope in the backs, but on paper, I think the Sharks have more weapons that can do more damage over time, either as a unit when spreading the ball, or creating individual plays. Both sides also have big forward packs, but the Sharks have Fanua Blake on their side, with Blake Brayley at 9, who's been incredible this season, so they could do a lot of damage through the middle as well. Now, in recent weeks, the Sharks have had some poor games, especially in defence, but so have the Cowboys. They had one game where they conceded 12, but around that, the Cowboys conceded 32, 43, 26 and 24 in 4 games in the last 5 weeks. The Sharks have won 13 of their last 15 games against the Cowboys, and the Sharks have won 5 out of 7 games played at Shark Stadium this season. The one thing that could keep the Cowboys in this game is their attack. If Clifford's kicking is on point and Dearden can lead his side around the park, they could find points, but the Sharks are just the better side in nearly every aspect of the game. So for prediction, I'm going to go with the Sharks to win 1 to 12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Ronaldo Mulatalo. So to recap my predictions for this round, I'm going to go with the Storm 13+, Dolphins 1 to 12, Broncos and Panthers 13+, and then the Raiders, Seagulls, Bulldogs and Sharks all to win by 1 to 12. In terms of win confidence, I'm at 90%. I'm very confident with the Storm winning, fairly confident with the Dolphins and Broncos with their wins, fairly confident with the Broncos because of their slip-up in the last round, but I think it might just be a blip. Very confident with the Panthers and Raiders. I'm a little bit unsure about the Seagulls. That one could go either way against the Roosters. Very confident about the Bulldogs at least getting the win, and fairly confident with the Sharks as well. For margin confidence, I'm at 80%. All the 13 pluses, I think, should be fine. Maybe the Broncos one could be a sketchy one. I think it's possible the Sharks could actually win by 13 plus rather than 1 to 12. Possibly the Bulldogs as well. I think the Bulldogs could win that one by 13 plus. Maybe the Raiders as well. But yeah, I'm pretty confident for this week. I was last week as well, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's my recap for this round. So there you have it, folks. As always, if you guys have your own predictions, please do let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know how you got on last week. I'd love to know how you guys are doing with your predictions. But as always, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. And if you'd like to become a member, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.